Okay, so there's a new thing here now.
So those are multiplayer options. The versus mode is pretty self-explanatory. No big deal there. Breeding is...
You can breed with a friend?
Yes. I don't remember exactly how it works in terms of order. It might be that you will always be the pedigree, so your friend will have the opposite order of you, for example.
Okay.
So say you offer a dragon, they offer a plant. Your dragon will take point for you, their plant will take point for them, I think. I'm not 100% sure on this.
Interesting.
But, one interesting note, I remember this for 2, but I'm not sure for 1. Versus mode is also pseudo-trade, I believe, because you can put up monsters for betting, I want to say.
Huh.
I don't know if that works for 1 as well, but I feel like I remember doing this as a kid for 2, of just intentionally throwing the match so you can trade one monster to another game. Otherwise, there is no way to exchange.
Interesting. Okay. Well.
Again, not 100% sure if that applies for this game, but I remember that at least being a thing for the second one.
Yeah.
It wouldn't shock me if it also applied to this, though.
And it's not really something that is really going to apply for us in this one, but...
It has absolutely no relevance to this session whatsoever.
Oh yes, he has the strong D.
It's the strongest of Ds.
I've got a tiny metal I need to deposit. Oh, I can sort them.
Yes.
With that button. Okay, cool.
Now you know.
Now I know. I can sort. You know what? I should probably go and actually just deposit that tiny metal. It's not over here.
Left, up, right.
Yeah, it's left, up, right, and I believe that's also where the arena is going to be. Which I believe is where I needed to go next.
You already started?
Yeah. Yeah, so that's a thing. I go up here. Tiny metal man.
Throw that metal in his face and then go face off in the arena.
Give me something when I get like 10 more medals. I got a total of 3 medals. I need more. I need way more. I find it kind of interesting because I know, like, in a lot of the normal Dragon Quest or Dragon Warrior games, he rewards you pretty early in. Like, it'll usually be like after 3 medals you get something.
Yeah, not really the case this time.
Yeah, that seems to kind of be the thing.
We will ideally get the first, maybe the second reward.
Alright, fair enough.
They're okay. Zapbird is nice. The one after, I already forget what it is because it rarely is anything relevant beyond just Zapbird that you can count on.
Fair enough.
For a typical playthrough. But you never know. There is an RNG element to finding tiny metals. You can find them in dungeons.
Oh, interesting.
But it is unlikely, to say the least.
Those dragon slimes? They look like a mixture between the mini drac and spot slimes.
Spotted slimes.
They look like a mixture between the mini drac and slimes.
Believe me, you will know a dragon when you see it. In the slime variety, I mean.
Yeah. Okay, so that's right. I've got King as my healer first. That's
correct.
Right.
We will need to remember names.
Yes.
So we can give them the appropriate actions.
Well, for right now, everyone can continue to just charge. Yeah, King doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but that's what I have. Oh, they can call for help. Interesting. How does that work?
It is actually a skill. There is a chance, and I believe it is based on your level, to call for quote-unquote help to beat up the target of your choice. Or I think it actually is multi-target. I think it's just do a bunch of attacks at random.
Okay, yeah.
Think of it as calling the game to beat up the opponents, and then they leave as soon as they're done beating up the opponents.
Huh, okay.
It is a skill you can get as well.
Yeah, because that sounded like... I was wondering how that was going to work if it just, like, pulled... if you had an empty slot, it just pulled someone from the farm, or a wild dude, or...
It is just your quote-unquote help. Do not ask questions, just accept the assistance.
Alright, fair enough. So, I'm going to do cautious again because I need to heal a little bit more. Or not, I guess.
King decided you do not in fact need to heal at all. He is very scared.
Does the odd dance, I lose 8 NP.
Whatever. Yes. The bane of the early Dragon Quest games. I want to say 2 was the one where odd dance was a killer.
So I still can't direct Dran to actually use his fire breath.
Yeah, I mean, the more you use it, the more you tell him to charge, the more he'll get used to it. The other issue is Dran is already an established monster, so he's not as eager to learn, we'll say.
Fair enough. Okay, so King only has 32 HP, that's why he wasn't healing. That makes sense.
Yeah, it doesn't show you the max, but again, Game Boy Color game, you only have so much screen space.
Yup. Oh boy, we've got our bunny. We've got a skull, we've got a bunny that looks like it's carrying a skull, we've got a bird that's definitely carrying a skull, and we've got something else there. From the bottom of the well. And he's a superclass monster and a superclass monster master.
Yeah. There's some flavor.
Oh yeah, we've got 2 skull boys and a zombie wolf?
It is a rock puppy. It is a zombie dog.
Alright, fair enough. Mad Raven. Skullroo.
Yup.
His panic dance. Oh boy. That's gonna suck. Putripup.
The names are real fun.
I do like the names. Okay, cool. So he did attack someone I wanted him to attack.
Part of what made jumping into Dragon Quest later on difficult for me is it translates a lot of the names differently. Namely, they are almost all pun-based. Whereas this game, they're just kind of fun.
Yeah, fair enough.
They're not really puns, they're just... This is a kangaroo holding a skull. What are we going to call it? Obviously, you call it a skullroo.
They're more portmanteaus than anything else.
But on the other hand, I grew up with all these names, so that made it a lot harder for me to adjust.
Please stop attacking yourselves and being confused.
No.
These guys do a lot of damage.
On the bright side, so, alright, here is actually a good point to bring up again. Dran is more willing to use his fire breath because typically a lot of the zombie family, as you can imagine, aren't very fond of fire.
Fair enough.
So, the AI looks at that and says, hey, they hate fire. I better use fire. The downside of that is the reason you keep getting it reflected at you because
this guy uses Tailwind.
Yes. And the game doesn't fully account for that because it's looking at the other enemies that do care about the fire.
Yeah.
So they just accept that as, well, you know.
I was hoping that I could take him out without losing King open up the rooms of memories and bewilder travelers' gates. Okay.
Yes.
Alright, well that also full healed my team after that. Will it
you
let
will
me
never be on the hub world without a full heal.
Okay, now it will let me continue down. I want you to win the tournament this time. I heard that your wishes come true if you win the tournament. But I wonder, what would your wish be if you win? What? Master Monster Tamer? He's down below.
We've already been in the well. We've said hi to him. He is in fact looking for help. We do not have that help.
But I can continue down even further. I heard you got stronger, but I still don't think you'll win. Thanks.
Rude.
Thanks, little girl. Rude little girl. Oh, well, at last I made it to the bottom. The stairs below lead to the Shrine of the Starry Night.
AKA monster breeding.
Alright, cool.
And an amazing song.
Oh, this is a nice song.
It is very catchy. I may or may not have already been whistling it this morning.
Sometimes you might be disappointed by not having the right gender. But there is an egg consultant somewhere in this kingdom. She can bless the egg to change its gender.
So, yeah. You can freely... Before a monster is born, you have two options with the egg. Because you can freely decide when the egg is gonna hatch. You can look into the egg's gender before it hatches, and if it is not to your liking, you can forcibly switch the gender before you hatch it. So that way, there's a little bit of a RNG aspect to it of what it'll be, but it is fully controllable.
A dragon kid that can learn healer skills will be born.
So yeah, going back over how the skills work, each monster has access to 3 skills it can learn naturally. Which it may or may not learn. They all have their own requirements for stats, level, and sometimes prerequisite skills you need to know ahead of time. If you breed 2 monsters together, those 6 skills, 3 from each, are available for the baby to learn, on top of its own 3 skills that it can have.
Okay.
It is also worth noting that, say the parents didn't learn all 3 of their skills because they couldn't meet the stat requirement. If the baby does meet the stat requirement, it can learn those parental skills on its own. It is rather interesting. This does not apply to grandparents. Grandparents, if you didn't have the skill, you lost the skill.
Fair enough. So I do have an egg that I can hatch now.
You do.
It was for that Thunder Dragon, or Sky Dragon.
Sky Dragon, yes.
Costs 10 gold to hatch. Let's get some info on it.
You have no info on it other than a picture. Do you want it?
Yes.
So see that question mark next to the name?
Right.
That is the gender of the Sky Dragon. Because you have not evaluated the egg with the help of the egg evaluator, you do not know what the gender is.
Okay.
In this instance, it really doesn't matter that much. Do you think it's going to matter all that much if you have a boy or a girl Sky Dragon? No, genders do not influence stats.
Yeah, I don't think it'll really matter that much.
It does not. Unless you have very long-term plans involving specifically that Sky Dragon, you're going to be fine. Boop.
Yay! Sky Dragon female was born. Okay. Give it a name. SD.
Yeah.
Is this where you came up with that?
No, it is not.
Okay.
It sure isn't, but it's a happy coincidence.
Well, I mean, if it's already gonna give me that...
Just gonna lean into it?
Might as well lean into it.
Fair enough.
Sure. Oh, well, who do I want to send? You know what? Now I think I can get some info.
Indeed.
Okay. But those are some pretty good stats, especially for a level 1.
Yeah, so Sky Dragon's a pretty good monster at this stage of the game.
Yeah.
The only real downside of it is that it's part of the dragon family, which they are notoriously slow levelers. As you can see, instead of a 2 experience or 1 experience to the next level, it's 10 experience, and you better believe that grows exponentially.
Mm-hmm. Fair. I don't know.
But the same applies to Dran as well.
Yeah, I kind of feel like he would be more useful than Golem.
Hey, you're holding the reins, buddy. You can do what you want to do.
You know what? Yeah, let's send back Golem.
Okay.
I like dragons. Let's have a party of dragons. Why not?
Sure.
I can't actually breed anything because I have to be level 10 at least to breed.
Correct.
Let me tell you, when you breed, first choose the monster family you like to keep its pedigree. Pedigrees and families. It's a bit hard to understand. So if you want to create a monster from the slime family... Okay, yeah. We've kind of gone over this before.
A little bit. I'll try to explain it.
When we're actually doing it.
Well, it's good to bring up now to think about, because the game only explains it so well. So there's the pedigree, and then the... I forget the exact terminology they use for the second monster, but there's the pedigree and the mate. The pedigree, 9 times out of 10, dictates what family the baby is going to be part of. Again, if you use a slime, it'll be a slime. If you use a plant, it's going to be a plant, so on and so forth.
Right.
There are minor exceptions to that, but I don't think they'll really come up in our playthrough. Unless you just stumble upon the magic route or breeding route on your own. Because probably a good time to bring it up now. Since Brenden is going into this blind, and I am going into this extremely not blind, to make it fun and interesting, but also make it a little less up in the air on how well things go, I am going to take control of one of the 3 monster slots, and I already have my grand old plans figured out on how to get there breeding-wise, and I will let the other 2 monster slots be whatever Brenden feels like doing on the breeding chain. I will try to have a little input on if it's a terrible idea or not, but other than that, I'm just going to let him kind of play around with what feels right.
Yeah, we're mostly playing this by ear, and luckily it does sound like when you do breeding, they'll kind of give you a slight indication, at the very least, if it's going to be total crap.
Yeah, we'll see it in a bit, but when you do go to breeding, if it's a common to uncommon monster, so okay to not very strong, it'll outright tell you what it's going to be before you accept the breeding, if it happens. If it's a stronger monster or a higher quote-unquote tier monster, the breeder will just outright say, I don't know what's going to happen. Do you want to do this? We'll see more of that later. Bottom line, I have my plans. I'm not going to tell him what my plans are other than, oh, I want that monster. That monster's mine now. And everything else will just be what happens naturally for Brenden. So that way I can at least make sure we have one guaranteed strong boy on the team helping out.
What's the person living next to you do? A man or a woman or what? Okay, lady. Whatever you say. Let me through. And that guy won't let me through his traveler gate. So, not going to worry about that.
Yeah, there's 2 different kinds of gates. Basically, the dungeon gates, the story ones, and the hidden, quote-unquote, hidden gates. The ones outside of the dungeon.
So you're Little Terry. I'm an egg consultant. Okay, so this is the consultant. I'll evaluate your egg and find out for you what kind of baby is in your eggs.
So kind of what I was telling you earlier.
My other job is blessing. Blessing changes the gender of monsters.
Blessing in heavy quotations.
Okay, so don't need to worry about you right now.
Yeah.
Back to the bookshelf, gender of monsters. There are families that will have only boy babies and others that only have girl babies.
I
Sure.
don't have much comment on that.
Different species have different limits of monster levels, but you can slow the speed at which the limit is reached. The more you breed monsters, the slower they reach the limit.
AKA, Monsters have a level cap. The more you breed them, the higher the level cap goes.
Only secret of breeding is to pick parents with the skills you want and pick the stronger one for the pedigree. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, again, it only gives you a decent amount of information for going in blind, honestly.
Yeah.
Especially for such a complex system, but...
Like, from where it is right now, I would feel like the 3 pedigrees I would probably choose would be... Unfortunately, Dran and Lysgydra and SD, because they're the strongest, and probably Golem, and then breed something into those. I only say unfortunately because that puts 2 dragons on my team, and I'm not sure if I really want 2 dragons specifically, but they're the strongest things I've got right now.
Yeah, I mean, you just kind of have to play around and see what makes sense.
You are strong! By the way, I'm doing a research on monsters, also doing research on Great Tree. I can tell you interesting stories. Come visit me again. Okay.
Yeah.
You're not actually going to tell me stories, you're just going to say hi. Okay.
At this point in time, I would recommend just a little bit of inventory management and thinking on it a little more. Probably a decent... Since you have the money to throw around, probably a decent idea to stuff your pockets full of a few pork chops at least.
Yeah, should probably get some pork chops.
You'll find a lot of various meats along your way, but doesn't hurt to have a few in the ready.
Yeah, okay. This is not the person I want to talk to. I want to talk to the guy with the ball and chain.
Yeah, you never want to talk to that person.
Yep. I always want to talk to the prisoner. Unfortunately. Okay, let's take out some gold.
Just however much, you're dumping it all in there afterwards anyways.
Yeah, I'll just take out like 2,000, whatever.
You probably only want like 4 or 5 pork chops anyways.
Yeah. I do still have a tiny metal that I should go deposit as well, but I won't worry about that just yet. Item shop.
You might want to sell first.
I don't think I... Oh, well, I guess I can sell all of my herbs. They're plentiful.
Probably fine just with 2.
Yeah. Okay. And let's go ahead and buy up some pork chops.
Yeah, I'd just grab like maybe 5.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Again, you have the money to throw around. It's not the biggest deal. I wouldn't worry about anything else.
No, nothing else looks terribly useful to me. And let's just continue on. I'm interested to see what sort of moves Sky Dragon learns.
You want to ditch the money.
Oh yeah, definitely need to do that. I wish to put... let's just ditch all of it. Oh,
It's not
it
one
doesn't
of
let me do
those
that.
games. Sorry, buddy.
Alright.
Gotta be exact, C's. Having some controller issues there?
Oh, okay. So it does not actually let me do the 10s or 1s. It only lets me do them by hundreds or more. Okay. Well, that's fine. If I lose 8 gold, who cares? Or I guess 16 gold, but whatever.
Yeah. Not gonna be the end of the world.
Yeah. Really not terribly concerned. Okay, well, I guess let's go to the dungeon.
Seems time to me.
I guess I could also check out and see what levels people are in... Nah, not drop off. Check. Level 6, level 9, 8, level 7. Okay. So people
You're getting there.
Yeah, people are still not high enough level to really do much with.
You're probably gonna be able to start really playing around with it after maybe 2 or 3 more runs.
Yeah, fair enough. I also haven't been getting a super high amount of experience until recently. I still wouldn't say I'm getting a super high, but you know, more than like 5 to 10.